What's up, gamers? We are going to do something that no one else has ever done, which is a review of the new cards coming out for Hearthstone. For this mini set, I don't know what travel agency, something that has to do with traveling. I don't remember what it's called. I'm going to go through all the cards that are revealed so far, even though I've seen these already. I figured it's been some time, so let's do like a re-review of what I thought about them. Travel Master Dungar, 9-mana 3/3 battlecry, summon 3 minions from your deck that are from different expansions. This is neutral, which is kind of cool. I have no idea really how good this will be because I don't think we've ever seen a card that says 3 different expansions. Now, the thing about this card is it's kind of unique in the sense that you need to kind of build towards it. But the fact that you got to build towards it and only cater like minions that are worthy enough to summon from your deck, but at the same time are powerful enough that you want to summon them from your deck is a really interesting puzzle that I'm not sure a lot of people are going to build towards. It's a very restricting build around card, and I'm not really sure if that's what people want to build for. That being said, we haven't seen all the cards yet for this mini set. Maybe there is something that I'm not considering. This card also gets only weaker with rotation. It needs more expansions for it to be better because then you have more options. I'm assuming there's enough minions in the game that are coming from different expansions that you will be okay with running this, but I don't know. It seems like a pretty weird card. I'm not a huge fan of this. Also, I would be honored if you guys wrote a comment what you think of these cards, because it helps me figure out what decks you guys really want to see when it comes to actually the mini set play reveal, or like when it releases. I don't know what that sentence was, which is this upcoming Tuesday. So let me know what you think of these cards. If you think they're awesome, let me know. That is the wrong way. I was like, damn, I think I've seen that card before. Dream Planner Zephrus, 3-mana 2/2, 3-mana 3/2. Battlecry, choose a travel tour to get 2 potentially perfect cards for it. So as far as I am aware, these are only cards from Classic, which is rather interesting. It's also extremely interesting that Hearthstone does not want to show them on their site. Are they even here? What the fuck is going on with this? Blizzard, are we okay? One of them is ones that, oh, here we go. Get 2 random cards that can potentially spend a lot of mana. I'm going to look for tours to see if I can see any of the other ones. There's one that says get cards that potentially have like that damage your opponent this turn or something, and the other one is that deal with your opponent's board. So there's always potentially positives. It just depends if you really have the mana to play the cards that you get, which gives this card a really weird asterisk of, is that consistently good enough that you want to play a card like this? And because it doesn't have the Highlander requirement like the other Zephrus had, it might have more of an upside than I'm thinking. It's very easy to slot this into a slower deck. It's very easy to slot this into a aggro deck where you get that burn that you may not have. Like, for instance, Warlock used to have Soulfire, right? We no longer have Soulfire in Standard, so maybe getting that additional burn will help make an aggressive Warlock deck come to fruition in 2024 Hearthstone. Extremely hard card to evaluate. We do know that the options are only from Classic, and I think one of the cards you can get from this is Ice Block. I'm sure, like, if you go Google search, you can find it. But I'm kind of optimistic on Zeph here. I also love the art of this card. I think it's hilarious. Okay. Employee of the Month, 2-mana 3/2 battlecry, give a friendly minion lifesteal, and it's also a demon. I'm very optimistic on this card. My first impression of it a couple days ago was like, damn, that's a demon that gives any minion you want lifesteal. That's insane. And I think it's still really good. There's a bunch of different ways to utilize this card. It works really nicely in like the self-damage Warlock deck if you need additional stats, or additional health, I should say. I'm a big fan of it. I also like the fact that this is kind of a card that's going to be around for a little bit. So there's a potential, if a slower Warlock deck is there, we can use it. It's also really good in like the handlock with the location from Titans, the big giants, that you can give a giant lifesteal, and all of a sudden, not only are you clearing a minion, but you're getting a bunch of health from it. I think that's really strong. I have a feeling this card's gonna get played. Ungoro Bershore. Bershore? The hell? 4 mana for Druid. Draw 2 minions. Give them +2/+2, and then it flips each turn, and it becomes draw 2 spells that cost 1 less. Mana chaining is nice. Drawing 2 specific cards is nice. The real question is, does Druid actually need a card like this? If they don't need a card like this, obviously it's not going to get played because it's not like a horrible card. I also think in like Arena, it's really interesting. These are really hard to evaluate. Drawing 2 minions and giving them +2/+2 might be worth 4 mana. And the fact that you have an additional draw 2 spells and they cost 1 less is really cool. I'm kind of excited. I don't know if it's going to be that good though. It really depends. I'm just not sure. I guess when you always draw it, you know you're getting 2 minions. So if you're okay with waiting a turn, it's kind of cool. I like the little mini game inside the game though that they're offering. It's kind of fun. Turbulus. What the hell is... Okay, so this is where we go to the territory of like cards I'm not 100% sure what we're getting here. 4 mana 3/4 Hunter Taurus. Battlecry, give +1/+1 to all other Battlecry minions in your hand, deck, and battlefield. It's also an elemental, which is kind of interesting. So getting the Hunter Taurus is rather cool. That means... Okay, so as far as I'm aware, you can only put 1 Taurus in your deck. You can't put multiple Taurus. So Shaman is the first class, as far as I know, that got multiple Taurus. So you can't go Demon Hunter and Hunter. You can only pick one or the other. That's rather interesting. And there's a lot of Battlecry minions in Shaman neutral pool. This is like a pretty powerful effect. And I feel like this is a very easy thing to build your deck around. I like it a lot. It's also elemental based. So if you really want an elemental based synergy here, it could be really good. Almost all elementals have some type of Battlecry, which makes this an easy include. And it's like a middle ground between the Mistcaller and Keleseth. The fact that it does your battlefield and the minions in your hand is rather insane. Which means, does this get buff to a 4 mana 4/5? Is this just a Yeti? This card seems rather insane. It's very strong. I'm sure it'll get played. Seems very good. Punch card. I haven't seen any of the warrior cards. I'm actually really excited here. 3 mana, give your hero +3 attack and also damages adjacent minions this turn. That's a sick, cool card for control warrior. Even with tempo, it gets even better with weapons. So like if your opponent has a lot of minions you want to deal with, you can play this, and with your weapon, you can potentially clear a bunch of minions. That means positioning in Hearthstone matters again, which is always a great thing. I'm a huge fan of this card. 3 mana is kind of steep for 3 attack though. Like you only have 1 minion, you're not like super happy with it. This is like very comparable to the Shaman 3 mana card that summons a 3/3 with Rush, and you gain 3 attack this turn. You do Overload, but I think the Shaman card is maybe marginally better. I don't know. That's a cool card though. I do like the thought process behind it. Why can't I go back? Oh, there we go. Okay. Ice Crown Brochure for Shaman. 2 mana, deal 3 damage to a minion and freeze its neighbors. And then also it is a Blackrock Brochure. 2 mana, deal 3 damage to a minion, and it deals 1 to its neighbors. So instead of dealing 1 to its neighbors, you freeze. 2 mana. It's also really... Wait, did it work like that as well for the last one? Hold on. This one's nature, this one's arcane. Oh, it did work. So there is spell school synergy here. So for like the Razzle Dazzler, depending on what you need, this actually might make a difference, right? Dealing 3 damage to a minion and freeze its neighbors doesn't feel great though. I mean, it's okay. I feel like Shaman doesn't really need either one of these, but it's something to consider, I guess, if you do need it for your Razzle Dazzler deck. But for the most part, I'm kind of whatever about this card. Like, does Shaman really need to deal 2 damage or deal 3 damage to something? Maybe. I'm not sure. I do like the art of this card though. I really like the fact that like you could see the expansion in it. It's kind of cool. Reserve Spot. 3 mana for warrior. Give a random minion in your hand +4/+4. It's the only one there. Reduce its cost by 2. What is this going? Like big warrior? Like you don't put enough warriors into your deck and like enough minions into your deck, you draw it, and then you hope that like this is the only thing that discounts. Because if you do get the discount, you're investing into a bigger minion that comes down earlier. That's kind of cool. There's also like Day9 played Line Cooker against me in like the theory crafting thing that Blizzard did. And I wonder with Reverse Spot if that becomes a lot better, because tradable keeps enchantments. So maybe that's the play for this. I have no idea if this is good. It's so interesting, but a 3 mana gave a random minion in your hand +4/+4 I don't think is playable enough. So if you do get the reduction, a 1 mana +4/+4 is pretty nuts. I can maybe see it. If there's a deck that can build around this card's very powerful. So sure. Alloy Adversary. Oh my god, I was gonna say adversary. Advisor. 4 mana 2/6 taunt. Whenever this takes damage, gain 3 in armor. Whoa! 3 armor, it's a mech? Damn. I have no idea how good this is either. This is a tough set to really analyze here. Against aggro, this is so brutal, man. This is so frustrating because you're gaining 6 life, and then you gain multiple increments of 3 armor depending on how many get hit. You get minimum 3 unless it's like a destroy the lowest cost minion, right? It's probably too slow, but there is ways to buff the minions in hand, and this could be very frustrating. I can maybe see this. There's also a card, I believe, that they buffed recently that gives your mechs or your top minions in your hand +2/+2. There's some kind of like slower warrior deck that really needs the armor. I can maybe see it, but I think warrior probably doesn't care. This might be just an arena card. It's interesting though. Hydration Totem, 2 mana 0/3. The end of your turn, give adjacent minions +1/+1. Okay, so I'm comparing this to what? Maybe Flame Tongue Totem. Flame Tongue Totem is give your minions +2 attack. Give adjacent minions +2 attack. So if you're doing +2 attack, that's good immediately. This is a slower card. And if it's a slower card, it's not a tempo play. It's definitely more of a value play. It is something you kind of need to kill. And it is something that you do need other minions for it to be good. I feel like what Flame Tongue Totem does really well is it's just, here's it right now, it gets value, and then your opponent has to kind of answer so you don't get more. This is like, you need the minions. You don't get to play this preemptively. You need to hope that it lives. If your opponent has any way to clear multiple minions, it's like, okay, cool. I'm not a huge fan of this card. I think it's too slow. I could be wrong. I'd be curious to see what people think about this card. I think it's a little too weak. Cash Cow. Show me the Mooney. 5 mana 3/7 taunt. Whenever this takes damage, get a coin. It's a beast. Why would they give this to Hunter? So who gets to use Hunter cards? Hunter gets, Shaman can use it. In Priest, I think, is the other one. None of those classes really care about coins. So in that regard, do I give a single crap about this? This seems so weird. I guess they really want to push like a big Hunter deck. And if that's the case, I guess you're kind of happy with it. But other than that, do I really want to play something like this? It looks bad. It feels bad. I'm not a huge fan of this card. I think it's very weak. I think it might be an arena card. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't see it. Workhorse. 3 mana 4/2 death battle, summon 2/2/1 ponies. Now we're talking. Now this is cracked. 3 mana 4/2 for a beast, and you get multiple 2/1 ponies. I love the flavor of this card, by the way. I think this card is pretty good. Also answers the question of how a horse would wear a shirt, which is kind of cool. Or I guess a suit top. I think this card's pretty decent. Fits into a bunch of different Hunter decks. It's very easy to slot this into like an aggro deck. It's very easy to slot this into a mid-range deck. I guess if you're going for like the big late game Hunter deck, it's probably a little slow. If you evolve into this, you're pretty happy. I think this card's pretty sick. Good arena card, dude. Insane arena card. Huddle Up. Spell Naga is the flavor text there. Interesting. Fill your board with random Naga. Is Naga the plural? I always thought it was Nagas. Okay, I just learned something new. Fill your board with random Nagas. Well, Naga, hold on. How many good Nagas are there in standard right now? Is there enough for me to really want to play this? Let's go to the website. All right, I'm watching. It could be anything. Obviously, there's some spells here, but for the most part, it doesn't feel that great. So 7 mana for potentially a bunch of poo. Is there anything I'd be okay with? Maybe the sharpshooter's fine. But like most of these are whatever, man. I guess this has rush. You don't get the battle cry. This could be good depending on what your deck is. Feels very weak. Feels like an arena card. I don't know why you would play this. Because there's also like other 7 mana cards that fill the board better for mage, right? There's that elemental spell from Titans. I don't think this is playable. I'd be surprised if this is playable. It seems like an arena card. Burn Down. Trust me, the next 3 cards in my deck are fire is the flavor text on this card. 3 mana, draw 3 cards and light them on fire. In 3 turns, any still in the hand are destroyed. 3 mana to draw 3 is fine. It's crazy. Back in the day in Hearthstone, I would have been like, shit, that's insane. But it doesn't get me going. A Secret Passage just ruined me for fucking draw cards, man. I could maybe see this. I guess the benefit of this is like it's a fire spell, so maybe in Sith Mage you're okay with this, but like Sith doesn't really have a problem with drawing. So what are you drawing this for? I guess maybe this is for Big Spell Mage. I can maybe see it. I can maybe see it a Big Spell Mage. I don't know what this is really for. Again, 3 mana to draw 3 isn't like, it's good. It's just not amazing. And then they potentially could burn. Again, this is another card I'd be really curious to see if anyone has any ideas for. Kind of interesting though. I guess there might be a payoff for it. I'm just not 100% sure. Portal Mancer Skyla. This is a Rogue Tourist. Okay, cool. 5 mana, 4/5. Battlecry, swap the cost of the lowest and highest cost spells in your hand. Okay, I now see the payoff for this card. If you typed a comment, I'm super sorry. That is an extremely interesting card. So Rogue has Convincing Con Man for the set. And with that card, you could do a lot of really gross stuff with Big Mage, which has not been a playable deck yet. What kind of animal is that? Is it a Worgen? Now I'm very intrigued. Looks like they're going to Naxxramas there, I think, is like the portal. I'm in a 4/5 is really bad stats, but the Battlecry is very powerful. It's very interesting that they made a lot of the rogue cards that bad. If this is something they're worthy to print. Because like swapping on turn 6, you play this. You swap your 10 mana spell for potentially like a 1 mana spell and you're super happy about it. I can see it. That seems pretty strong. And then you also get the... I think Convincing Con Man is just such a good card that I feel like Mage wants to play it just for that, for their big spells. I can see it. Cool card. Robocaller. 3 mana, 3/2 Battlecry. Draw an 8/8 and an 8 cost card. Numbers dialed randomly each turn. So I'm assuming that means they can only be from 1 to 9. If I'm thinking about like what a telephone, like an older telephone looks like, or I guess currently, right, with the numpad. So like if you got like a 1, 2, 3, you're happy. Seems really random. I guess potentially it's draw 3 cards though for a mech. I have no idea how to evaluate this card. Does Rogue really need the draw? Probably not. So who's a Rogue Taurus? Mage? Maybe a Mage you want this? With like Big Spell Mage? Maybe. I have no fucking idea. This is such a strange card. I'm assuming that's how it interacts. I don't know if you really want this. Who got this? Paladin want this? No, Paladin has the Rogue Taurus, right? Who is the Rogue Taurus right now? I can't even remember. Paladin, right? No, it is Paladin. It is Paladin. Paladin want this? No, I don't think so. I don't like that. I don't know. Agency Espionage. 4 mana. Shuffle a card from each other class into your deck that costs 1. 4 mana to shuffle 10 cards into your... Really cool play on words there. Love the fucking huge ass telescope too. Oh my god. I mean, it's a meme card. If you want a meme card, fuck it. But let's be real here. Most of the time, it's gonna be really, really bad. Not what to really talk about, I think, right? Sharp Shipment. 4 mana, give your weapon +2/+2. Really? +2/+2 for 4 mana? How do I feel about this? Cutlass, this kind of goes hard. I mean, but again, this is another card. Like, do you really need it? Mage doesn't really need this because you can't really use it. I guess Paladin could use the Sharp Shipment. Interesting design for a lot of these cards. How do you guys feel about these minis? I feel like I feel like what Hearthstone's done really well recently is like the flavor of these cards are really interesting, but I feel like it's kind of underwhelming. Like none of these cards really speak to me like that broken. Like this card seems very good. I can see it getting played. I can see the Taurus being played for sure. But maybe my brain's too small to really see like the cooks. So if you got anything cool, let me know. Catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.